Hi guys, how's it going? I hope everybody is, hanging in there. Welcome to my channel, and yeah, welcome. I noticed I actually hit 500 subscribers, so that's like all the way cool. And thank you. And to be really honest, like, I don't know. My intention basically for this channel is not to, have 1 million subscribers or make $1 million or anything like that at all. Just real quickly, I'm not going to ramble super long, but I just wanted to kind of, I don't know, let people know sort of my purpose, and that is mostly just to share and feel like I'm part of a community. I live by myself and I don't have a husband. I'm an empty nester. All my kids are moved out, and even though they do live, most of them, I have 5 sons, and 4 of my kids live in Spokane, where I live. My youngest actually lives over in Seattle with his partner and their little baby. And I've got a number of grandchildren, but I live in this huge house all by myself, and 6, 7 years ago, I quit my job where I was working in a call center. I was working for Comcast in their retention department. So I was one of those people when, you called to cancel your service or whatever, you would talk to somebody like me who would talk you into staying and offer you the moon and stars, to stay with the company. And I was really good at it, and I enjoyed it for a long time, but for years. And then I just got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. And I realized that I could actually make a living doing what I love to do. And at that time, that was making junk journals. And so, with the support of many, many lovely, beautiful people, I was able to do that for a long time. And have another YouTube channel I've mentioned before. That was a place where I had like a community of junk journal people, right? And so I really wanted to I sort of burnt out on that, and I also started becoming less and less able-bodied over the years, and the last couple years extremely so. Chronic pain. I've got major spine issues and hip issues, knee issues, hand pain, arthritis issues, and things like that. So I'm just not able to do what I was doing. And so this is something that I've always done, coloring and painting and playing with all things color. So I decided to start this channel, and I know I've said this before, but I just want you to know that it's not my goal to like have a huge channel where, I'm monetized and all that. And I don't believe that even if I get to the point where I could monetize this channel, I don't think that I will. I just don't think I will. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you, that my main goal is just to share, and because it's fun, it's nice to share, right? And yeah, so that's where I'm at. It's like, I do all these things, but who am I going to share it with? So thank you guys for being here and for sharing with me and sharing in this with me. So anyway, I don't know if I'm going to call this a vlog or or what, but on my other YouTube channel, I used to do a what's on my desk kind of thing once in a while. And so I thought maybe I could just do that on this channel, just what's on my desk. And so that'll be, you know, things that I'm working on, some products that I've picked up, maybe books or art supplies, whatever. I'm always like experimenting and trying to like figure out how I could do things in a different way or better or more efficiently or whatever. And so I have a few things that I have picked up that I want to share with you guys. I have a plan for this book that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And yeah, it's kind of, you know, all that stuff. Anyway, so I just have all this stuff kind of piled over here, but these really are the things that I've been doing over the last couple weeks, I guess. Anyway, 20 minutes in, I finally get to the point. So I sometimes have a really hard time finding a page to work on, and I don't know why, because I have plenty of coloring books, but sometimes it's like I find myself, do you guys ever do this where, you know, you start looking through your coloring books and you're tabbing pages and all that for hours and you still don't have a page to start on, and it's almost like there's too many choices, right? Sometimes I think that's what the problem is for me, is that I have too many options. And so what I've kind of gotten to is, and it makes me almost feel like I don't love coloring anymore because I can't find something to work on, or that I don't love the books that I have or whatever. But I don't think that's what it is. I think what it is just that paralysis of getting started. It's almost like blank page syndrome, even though, you know, the pages aren't blank, they have an image on them. But it is sort of like that, where, you know, when you have to make a decision about, okay, I'm going to work on this page. Sometimes that's just really hard to make that commitment. I don't know. Does anybody else have that going on? Anyway, so what I keep coming back to this book, Tales from the City Among the Stars, and I just keep coming back to it. And so I've done so many pages in here that I think I'm just going to try to do this whole book. I think I'm just going to try to complete this book. And so anyway, I have a couple other pages that I've completed already in April, but I want to show you kind of what I'm working on. And so this is definitely at the ugly stage at this point. I've decided that this one this side I think is going to be more of a nighttime scene, mostly because there's stars in the clouds here. And then this one I would think are more like raindrops. So I think I'm going to do that. And I have based the background with acrylic wash, and I want to talk to you about that acrylic wash, not gouache. And I you know, if you don't know Axik Fumbles YouTube channel, I strongly encourage you to go check it out, because she is really, really amazing. And I can tell, even if she didn't work in coloring books, she would be an amazing artist. And she has a lot of experience that she shares with our community that I know everybody could benefit from. So she uses a lot of acrylic paint, okay, in the form of a wash on her coloring pages. And I think most of us know that you can use acrylic paint in coloring books, but the way that she kind of approaches it, I think, is really useful, and it accomplishes a couple of different things. First, you get some color on the page, which is nice. It adds some tooth, like, you know, some texture to the paper. And not that this paper necessarily needs it, but but it is nice. Like, it's really nice to color on top of it. It just feels good. It's like satisfying, you know. In Amazon print books, the acrylic wash is really nice because it kind of seals the paper so that you can use other mediums on top of it, and bleed through isn't as much of a problem. I like to use water-based markers a lot, and so but I always shy away from my Amazon print books because they bleed through, and I don't really like using alcohol markers. I just, at this point in my journey, it's just not something I really want to get into. But anyway, so it's either watercolor, water-based markers, or acrylic, something like that, or pan pastels or something. Anyway, I'm going to try not to ramble, but because I have a lot of stuff I want to show you guys. Anyway, so she did a video recently, Axik Fumbles, Annika, where she was talking about just that. And I kind of wanted to show you guys what I started. Like, she just got me going. Like, she inspired me to pull out all of my, like, craft paints. And I was looking for paints that were, like, matte finish, like, not glossy. Hold on, let me grab a couple paints. So, paint like this, any of these type of paints, these craft paints, and these dry matte, and that's what gives you that nice texture. So I went through and pulled out all of these type of paints, and not just apple barrel, but folk art and all that. And then I also tested some of these other types of paints where if you look at folk art brand, they make a line of paints. They're multi-surface, and these are paints that you're able to actually paint onto, like, glass and stuff like that, and then you can either let it dry for a really long time, or you can actually put it in the oven and set the paint, and it becomes permanent on glass, or like ceramic and stuff. Anyway, so I wasn't sure how this would work as far as the finish, like the dry finish, because it says it's satin. And so I tried it, and it does actually work. So when you water it down into a wash, these multi-surface paints also work. Not as matte as these, but they do also work, and you can use pencil on top of them. So I just wanted to share that with you. So anyway, so I have hundreds of these, and these are 2-ounce bottles. They're heavy. I've got them sorted kind of by color into these tubs in a drawer in my, like, studio, but I never use them because I never want to pull out all those tubs, and for me, it's like I want to be able to see all the colors at once. Like, you know, like I have all my colored pencils on a Lazy Susan, and I want to see all of them at one time, rather than going to a drawer and pulling out, you know, some greens and some oranges. I want to see all my colors. And so that's how I feel about the paint too. I want to see the whole range. I want to see the palette and become inspired by the palette of color, right? So I noticed that when she did her video, one of the paints that she used were these little bottles, like well, this isn't one of those paints, but this is the type of bottle that a lot of the paints that she uses come in, and I think this is a 1/2 ounce. Yeah, this is a 1/2 ounce bottle. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could take these paints and put them into a bottle like this, already watered down, into a wash, you know, so that I could just grab them, shake them up, put them in a palette, and not have to worry about, you know, having to mix them and all of that with each color that I want to use. Or say I just want a drop of that color, rather than having to, you know, watered down, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted to be able to have them already like pre-made. And so I went on Amazon and I found, and I know that they have half-ounce bottles. But the thing is with these bottles is, and these are the same type of bottles that her paints were in, they have this cap on them that you have to like pop off in order to get anything into it, like in order to put the paint or water or anything into it. I mean, maybe they have other kinds, but I'm just saying that most of the half-ounce size bottles that I found were this type of bottle. And I didn't want to have to deal with that. And I didn't want to have to deal with paint getting clogged up in the little spout and all that. So I went with a 1-ounce bottle, and they're twice as big. But I found a package of 100 for like $25. And these have the twist up. These have the little twist cap. And I have had these before, and so I kind of knew that I liked them already. Nice thing about these is that this pops off. So you can clean this if you need to, right? That's important, because if acrylic paint gets dried in there, it's just, yeah, it's not fun. And if it dries up in that little spout that's in most of these bottles, there really is, it's a pain to clean them. Anyway, so I bought a box of these. I bought 100 of them, and I just pulled out all the paints that I wanted to have mixed up, and filled them about, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch or so, depending on how thick the paint was. So if the paint was like normal consistency of this type of paint, where, you know, it's like that, like it's not super watery, and it's not super thick like in a tube. Anyway, so just mixed them up with water. Probably about ½ inch, and then the rest of it with water. And then in each one, I added a little steel ball bearing. One of these little ball bearings, because I knew that they would separate when they're sitting, and those little ball bearings are nice to get the paint off the bottom. Sometimes the little ball bearing settles down into the paint on the bottom, and you have to kind of tap it to get it moving. But see, so it mixes it up. That'll mix it all up. So I just went to town, and this is what I wound up with. A whole palette of colors. Right? So I think there's 99 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 88 in here. And then, so I couldn't put them all in there. I wound up doing some grays. Like I did kind of like a gray scale. So I got my black. I didn't label the colors on here because I just didn't. I didn't feel like it. Anyway, so this is actually the black, and then I just did a whole gray scale. Well, this is white, but anyway. So I just took my black, and then added progressively more. I added some black, and then progressively added a little bit of white to each bottle. A little bit more white going down the row. So I've got a nice selection of different grays. Some of them I added a tiny bit of yellow ochre, so that I could get more like a French gray kind of color. Anyway, so yeah, so I've got all these colors, and now I just have one tray that I can keep on my cart right next to me so that I can use these whenever I want. And, you know, I mean, I use my watercolors pretty much in the same way, but I want to use these acrylic paints in the Amazon print books because of the fact that it actually kind of seals the paper a little bit. So anyway, and then I went a little crazy and I started mixing some other paints that I have in that same drawer. These are the Dragonfly glaze. And so I mixed up those with water, because that's normally what I do with those anyway, is I water them down and just use them like on dragon wings or butterfly wings and that kind of thing. So I just kind of made it, whoops, you have to remember to close these, Jessica. Yeah, so I just made those washes. And I also did a bunch of the color shift paints and made those into washes. Hang on. So yeah, so you can see how it settles down into the bottom, but that steel ball bearing actually mixes it up pretty quickly. So yeah, and it gets down into the edges of the bottle. And so yeah, so I did all of those. And then I ran out of bottles. I ran out of these bottles. So I had some of these dropper bottles left over from another rabbit hole I had gone down. And I mean, I basically made kind of like acrylic inks out of these. And so I did all my color shift paints. And so yeah, so these I now have in little dropper bottles, so I can use these more conveniently, you know. Anyway, I did want to point out also that this US Art Supply acrylic paint that you can find on Amazon is really cheap, and it is matte. It's matte. So I think it's like 2 bottles for like $5 or something. And it does dry matte. And this is what I used in all of my like grayscale ones. So anyway, I just wanted to show those to you guys because I was so excited. I'm so exciting. I'm so exciting. Anyway, so let me move that stuff out of the way. And then I was watching, I always watch Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter. I'm sure a lot of you guys watch her too. But she actually did a little test on some watercolor paper not long ago, trying out this Holbein multi-sizing liquid to kind of like restore the sizing on some of her watercolor paper. I think it was in a sketchbook that had gone off, and sometimes that happens because of humidity or heat or just age. You know, gelatin sizing is really a gelatin type of thing, so it can, I don't know what happens to it, but it can go off. Anyway, so she was actually able to restore the sizing on some of her watercolor paper in a sketchbook, I think, with this. And she did some pretty good testing, and so I was curious to see if this would work to size coloring book pages so that when we want to use watercolor on coloring book pages, if it would behave more like watercolor paper. So that's something that I'm currently like testing. And so then, because I can't just do something, you know, a little bit, I've got to go like all in. I have this little Magic Potions coloring book by Olga Goloveshkina, but it's printed on Amazon paper, and I just have such a hard time with it because I want to do watercolor backgrounds, and the paper is so thin in this book. I don't know what it is, but like, it seems like it's thinner than even regular Amazon paper. But anyway, so without, you know, having to like scan the whole book, I want to be able to use these. Anyway, I have some of her other books too. I didn't want to take those apart, so I thought, well, I'll sort of like sacrifice this one. So I pulled out images that I didn't really love, like some that I thought, you know, I could sacrifice. And so I started my testing, and I actually did film this, but I had a, like, I don't know, video recording like meltdown one night. And so anyway, so I'm gonna have to try to redo this. But so I was doing some controls. So I did some different types of water mediums, just watercolor, Gansai Tambi watercolor, water-based marker, watercolor pencil, Inktense pencil, and Neocolor 2. So, and this is just on regular hot press Arches watercolor paper. That is relatively new, and I know that the sizing is good on it. So I just did kind of just some random things on it. Things that I like to do with watercolor, like lifting and, you know, blending, wet on wet, wet in wet, or whatever, that kind of thing. And looking at, you know, how well it moves, or how well it stops moving on dry paper, like how much crisp detail can I get on dry paper too. Anyway, and so then I did the same things on a page from this book, and, you know, the same things basically. And then so here's so there's some other products that I thought would be kind of cool to also test at the same time. And I don't know how I'm going to put this into a video. Maybe I can just do it and then share my thoughts in another video. But I don't know if it's something that you guys necessarily would want to see the whole process of each one of these products. Or, I mean, because that could be a really long video. I was thinking it might be fun to do it as a live stream, but I don't know if anybody would really be into doing that either. Anyway, so a lot of people say that clear gesso is a good, like, basically coating for pages like this to make it more friendly for water, you know, mediums. Anyway, so I coated this one with clear gesso, and then, and I actually had filmed that, but I can't do it. Anyway, so then I also did, I coated this page with this varnish. This is this Le Franc Bourgeois, it's an acrylic paint. It's like acrylic paint, but it's actually varnish, or it's actually vinyl. This is actually a varnish that they sell to coat your paintings after you know, to finish them. So it's a varnish, and I thought it would be kind of interesting to see. And it's matte too, like that acrylic paint is matte. This is the paint. I just bought a small little set of them. But this dries matte also, just like gouache. But it's not gouache. Anyway, and it's permanent. Anyway, so this varnish is also matte. So I did that on this one. Haven't tested it yet. And then I bought a huge bottle of the satin glazing liquid, because it was the best value to buy it in like a 32-ounce bottle. And so I just kind of decanted some into a smaller little bottle. So I did satin glazing liquid, haven't tested it yet. And then I've got Daniel Smith transparent watercolor ground, coated a page with that. And then I also thought it would be really cool to try, oh, I put it away, a pouring medium. Like if you like to do acrylic pour painting, pouring. They make mediums that you can mix with your paint that like thins it down to a pouring consistency, like paint that you have that's like really thick, heavy body paint. You can mix it with the pouring medium so that you can just pour it out of a cup. Anyway, so I took some of that, just the plain medium, and coated this page with it just to see, you know, if that would work. And then I coated a page with the multi-sizing. Yeah, we talked about that already. And then I did another page with matte medium, with Liquitex matte medium. And then this is the clear gesso that I used on that other page, by the way. And then also Krylon workable fixative. So it's quite a experiment I've got going on here. But you know, just these 3 pages that I did when I filmed it, it was like an hour. So I don't know, like to do the rest of these and video the process and the results of everything and compare them. I mean, it could wind up being like, you know, 7 or 8 hours. So let me know what you guys think. Like, is that something that you think I could just do on my own? Would you be happy to just kind of, you know, see what my results are? Or is it something that you'd be interested in seeing the whole process? And I could redo these and show them on video if you want, you know, because I get it. Like, sometimes it's nicer to see how the paint moves and that kind of thing on your own. But I mean, or I could just try to really simplify it somehow, but I don't know how. I don't know how to simplify it if I want to test all these products with all these different mediums, you know? And I'm only trying it on one type of paper too. Like, there's obviously like all kinds of different papers, but anyway, so let me know what you guys think about that. Curious to hear your thoughts, or if you would just maybe trust me to sort of give you the results. And you know, Sarah Renee Clark does a lot of stuff like this too, like that, where you know, she really goes deep into testing products and that kind of stuff. And you know, she doesn't show every single second, but I'm not a video editor, so it's hard for me to, you know, do that kind of thing and edit it down, you know, days and days of testing and edit it down to a 30-minute video. Anyway, so some other stuff that I picked up recently that I was like super excited about. And I don't know if I mentioned these already, but this brand, it's Shands, Shands. I got these on Temu. All these pens that I'm going to talk about came from Temu. But these are like a glaze pen. And I'm pretty sure I did mention these, but maybe not. Anyway, I love the Jelly Roll Glaze pens. And I know a lot of you guys do too. But I thought it would be cool to maybe find an alternative that was maybe a little less money, right? Because like, if you want to use a glaze pen to cover like a pretty large area, you could go through quite a bit of ink. But anyway, plus I thought, well, maybe these are different colors, you know, and they are actually a little bit different. Not every one, like some of them are very similar, but they're super juicy. Like, that's the thing that I'm excited about, is how juicy they are. So yeah, if you guys would like me to do some kind of comparison between the Jelly Roll glaze pens and the 3D jelly pens, and you know, maybe swatch them out and that kind of thing, let me know. I would be happy to film that and sort of do a little review of these pens, because these were, I don't know, I think they were like $5, you know, $4 or $5 on Temu. And I liked them so much that I actually bought 2 more sets of them because you never know, like things disappear off of Temu. And then the other thing was, so a lot of us have purchased the Languo Plus gel pens, the super shiny style 1mm like glitter gel pens, basically, right? And so they've got, I think, 24 colors. I mean, I know that's what it says on this box, but you can buy this box on Temu, or you can buy them in sets of 6. And so if you just buy them in sets of 6, I think there's only 4 sets available. There might be more now, I don't know. But anyway, so I bought this set, and I also bought the individual packs because I wanted to make sure. So I have, you know, doubles. Anyway, I have a whole box full of like back stock, basically, of all this stuff. So these stay on my desk, and then I've got the extras put away. Anyway, but one day I was on Temu, and I decided to keep all of my labels from this Languo like gel pen exploration on Temu. I'm keeping all the labels so that I kind of know what I have, and like I don't buy the same thing again. Anyway, but one day I happened to see that they have the 1mm, so the Languo Plus Bold 1mm in all these different colors. And these are not shiny style. These are basically matte. Yeah, so these are like, basically what I think these are an acrylic pen, an acrylic paint pen, because I'm seeing that a lot lately, especially like on Temu and stuff, and Amazon. There's companies are selling acrylic, basically ballpoint pens, and I don't think they're gel pens. I think they're just acrylic paint. I could be wrong. It's happened before where I was wrong. We all know that, but that's what I think this is an acrylic ballpoint pen. And anyway, so yeah, so it was like, oh my god, I was so happy to find those. And I don't know, I haven't seen, I don't know, maybe these are old, I don't know, but yeah, they come in like, let's see, how many packages were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 packs, all unique colors, and they do have color numbers on them. So you can see the color number is on the end of the pen, and it coordinates here, and there's no duplicates if you buy those 9 packs, those 9 sets. I wish I would have bought 2. But you know, because sometimes these things, you know, you find them and then you never find them again. And there's some other sets that are marketed as acrylic gel pens that I think I'm gonna get, because I'd like to see if they're basically the same thing. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you guys these because they're just beautiful, and I love that they're that 1mm nib, much larger than these. These are a 0.6mm nib, and a lot of us have these Languo, you know, gel pens. I just have mine split into two kind of like color families. I got my orange, reds, and browns, some purple, violets over here, and then purple, blue, green, gray over here. So warm and cool colors in these jars. So anywho, so I just wanted to show you guys these because I was super excited about them. And so then I was like, I wonder if there's other companies that are making this 1mm, you know, gel pen, basically, that's not metallic, not sparkly in any way. And so I found this set. I found these, and these are made by Mocha is the brand. And see, these say acrylic neutral. And so I think that that means like acrylic matte in their, you know, translation. So, but these, so I ordered these. They basically have, they've got all of these sets, right? And they might have more than this, I don't know, but I could only find 6 sets. And they're pretty much all like pastel colors. There are some duplicates. If you buy all 6 sets, in order to get all the colors that they had, you have to get all 6 sets. But you do wind up with some duplicates. And this is how many duplicates I came up with. Which is fine, because now I sort of like have backup of some of the colors. And they're so cheap that, you know, that doesn't bother me. But these have a 1.2mm nib. And I didn't know that when I bought them. I thought they were going to be either that 0.6 or they were going to be 1mm. Because looking at the pictures, they did kind of look like a little bit larger nib. But yeah, they're 1.2mm, so they're even bigger nib than these. Which I thought was pretty cool, you know. But they're all like pastel colors. And I don't particularly love pastel colors. I mean, they have their uses, but I mean, for sure. But yeah, I think these are just acrylic paint. So here's, let's see. I'm trying to see, like, you can't really see a huge difference in the size of the line. And actually, these look like they have a little bit more bold line. Maybe they just let out more ink or something. But anyway, so I got those two. And so these are all unique colors. I did a lot of swatching to make sure that they were all unique colors and there's no duplicates in there. So this is basically what you wind up with if you get all 6 of those sets. Because they're sets of 8 pens. And so yeah, so that's basically all the colors that you get, which is great, you know. And since these are sealed with some kind of liquid in the bottom, you can store them upright. That doesn't hurt them. Anyway, so I just wanted to show those to you guys because I thought they were pretty cool, and especially these like, oh, I was like, oh my god, I gotta get them all. Anyway, it's like Pokemon, right? Gotta catch them all. So I'm just keeping all my labels in this box, so that when I do go on Temu, I can, you know, reference it. Anyway, it's just the whole thing, right? Shopping. So let me put those over here. And then, Oh, there was a couple other things. Hold on. So I picked up, I've been really wanting to do some, let me see how long I've been recording. Hold on. Well, I can't see it. Anyway, gold leaf. I wanted to do some gold leaf in my coloring books. But yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I've been like really hesitant to do it because I didn't want to have to use a special glue, and I didn't want to have to, you know, like, I don't know. It just seemed like such a hassle. But I decided, okay, well, I'm just going to get some. And I decided to get, it did not come in this jar. It actually came in this jar. And I am now using that jar as a little water bowl, a little water dish. But a lot of these are pretty big pieces of gold leaf, and this came from Amazon. It was like $4 or something, $4 or $5, and it's just a huge amount of gold leaf. And you know, you can buy gold leaf in lots of different colors. But what I wanted to show you guys is that I had these already. These Zig, Kuretake Zig glue pens. And I never used these really for anything, and I've had them for a long time. But when I got this, I thought I would probably use my art glitter glue, and maybe a brush so that I could get a really fine line, you know. But then I remembered I had these, and these have, they come in 3 different sizes. So there's like a ball point. I think it's 1 millimeter. I think it says on here somewhere. Yeah, fine ball point. Anyway, it doesn't say, but see, it's still got, I mean, it's got like more than half is still in there. And these are also refillable, which is kind of cool. I can't get it out. I have an owie on my finger, so I can't unscrew this right now. But yeah, I think these are all refillable too. Anyway, I got these on jet pens a long time ago. Anyway, so it has this ball point. They've got a ball point. So pretty fine line of glue. And then there's this one, which I think is a 2 millimeter, maybe 3. And it's 3. And this one is like, you pump it to get it going. And then they have this one, which is like kind of like a chisel tip. So you can get like a thicker line or a thinner line. And it does stay tacky for a relatively long time. So I'm just like playing with this gold leaf. And it's so thin that like, I don't think it even really matters if you, if it's like crinkled up on top of the glue. Anyway, so that, and then I watched a couple people doing this, mostly what I've watched are like Japanese watercolorists using this, using gold leaf. And when they do it, a lot of times they put it through a sieve so that it becomes almost like a fine powder, rather than using like sheets of it. So that's why I thought, well, this like stuff that's already all crinkled up would work fine. Anyway, so I'm just using this little brush and kind of tapping it down onto the glue. And then you can use the brush to actually like wipe off the excess. I should have done this on top of a piece of paper. But yeah, and then any of the extra you can just put back in the jar. So anyway, I mean, you know, it's somewhat time consuming, but what else do you have to do? Anyway, so yeah, so I think it works really well. And I'm going to be using this glue, these glue pens, and my gold leaf, and using this in my coloring books because it's so cool and it's so shiny, right? So sparkly. I love sparkly. And then just put the extra back in the jar. So anyway, I just want to show those to you guys because it's fun to share. Whoops. So when I took it out of that initial like jar that it came in, it kind of explodes, like, because it's sort of like it's packed by weight, I think. Oh my gosh, here's a couple pieces that are still just like in sheet form almost. Anyway, I like what some of these watercolor artists do with gold leaf in their like Japanese or Chinese style watercolor, when they put it through a sieve and it just like becomes like powder. And yeah, it just looks really cool and it's super easy and there's like no waste, you know. Anyway, so there's that. And then oh, and I also found I lost all my glitter about a year ago and I couldn't find it. And then I found it. So I found all my glitter. And this is these are really old, this art glitter. These were from, gosh, 20 years ago, I think. My mom used to make greeting cards, and she used to do a lot of embossing and stuff with her, you know, it was just, back then when, like, embossing powders were new, that's when she started doing it. And so that was a long time ago. And she had all these glitters, and at some point I inherited them. And, I mean, she has, like, a huge set of them. And, anyway, so I've used these glitters for years. And, yeah, so I found all my glitter, and I was excited to find it. Because I can do cool stuff with glitter now. Here's another little product that I've picked up recently that I thought you guys might be kind of interested to see. So this is a Presto Jumbo Correction Pen. I actually got this from Blick a couple months ago, and I bought it because I also have this Uni Whitea, it's a correction pen, and it's like whiteout in a pen, and I like it, except that it's kind of hard to get like a really good solid line, right? Like, see how it winds up kind of railroading? And I mean, it's fine like if you just want to do like dots. I don't know. I just wind up fighting with it all the time, and I don't like that. Anyway, so I saw this and I thought, I wonder if that is any better than that, you know, than that. And it actually is. It's very cool. So like, if you are looking for something to do really opaque, white lines on anything, covering up coloring book lines or anything on white paper. These things are awesome. Only problem is that this is the finest point that they make, and I believe that is, it might even be 1.5 millimeter or something. But anyway, so it has like a little, there's like a little tip that it pushes in. It's like a little metal piece that pushes in. It's almost like a ballpoint, but kind of like how the glaze pens, like you sort of have to add a little pressure to like release the ink. That's what this is, but it's more like a pin that's in there. Anyway, so when you press it down, you have to kind of hold it upright in order to get the ink to like flow out evenly. And then you can also squeeze it to get more ink to come out. See, like I squeezed it to kind of release more ink, and I can, yeah, anyway. And these dry permanent, like this dries super permanent, and you can write on top of it because it's white out, you know. Anyway, I just want to show those to you guys because I think they're pretty cool and fun, and we're always looking for a good opaque, you know, white for stuff. And then last thing I want to show you guys, because this was such a good deal. I'm always looking for really fine point, really fine tip water brushes. And I mean, I've purchased pretty much every single water brush I can find in the world that advertises to be fine tip, or like, you know, smaller than 2 millimeter, because I like to use these for like really for fine details on things, especially with my like metallic watercolors. Anyway, so I'm always looking for those. This is a Pentel Aquash brush, and those run, you know, just to buy a single one, they're usually like $5 or $6. I've seen them for like $8. And I like them, but they're kind of expensive, you know. And then this is a Niji. No, this one's Kiritaki, sorry. And I like this one too, but the tip is a little bit too long for me. I don't like how long the brush is on this one. Anyway, so there's just all these different variants of water brushes that, you know, I like it for one reason, but I don't like it for another reason, and that kind of thing. Anyway, so went on Amazon one day and I just searched up fine tip water brush, and this Mr. Pen set came up. And when I looked at these ones have been used a lot, so I'm not going to show you those. These ones are still new. It was a set of 4, and I never use the, I hardly ever use these flat brushes, but, you know, I thought, well, it comes in the set, so I sort of have to buy it. Anyway, but who knows, like I might use it at some point. So it comes with that, like, I think it's a 1/2 inch flat, and then I think it's a 4 millimeter brush, and then a 2 millimeter brush. They're saying 2 millimeter, but that almost looks like 3 millimeter, but anyway. So this one, and this is kind of the biggest brush tip that I ever really like to use. So there's that one. And then they also have this one that advertises as a 1 millimeter. And it's shorter than that other one. I was like, I gotta try them. And the best part, it was $3.85 for this set of 4. Like, seriously? $3.85? So I ordered 3 sets because I thought, well, maybe that was a mistake, you know? maybe I better grab them because they might figure it out, you know? And it's a big water reservoir, and it has the push button on the sides, and it also has the some of these water brushes don't have that valve in them, and it makes it really, really hard to control the water flow if you don't have that valve. Anyway, so I just thought, what the heck? Anyway, so yeah, $3.85. So I got 3 sets, and I've been using them, and I'm telling you, these are my new favorite water brushes. I love them, and I'm gonna order a bunch more because, you know, they do wear out. I mean, especially if it's your favorite and you use it all the time, it's gonna wear out. I've been using this one quite a bit, and I'm just now starting to see some wear on the tip of it. But I like the water flow. It's really easy to control the water flow. I don't get like big water dumps that sometimes happens with water brushes. I've been using this quite a bit this morning with like graphite paint and stuff. But yeah, and just the push button on the sides works great. Yeah, these are just nice water brushes for super cheap, less than $1 a piece, like 90 cents or something, right? Anyway, so if you guys don't buy them all, I'm probably gonna buy them all. And they do have another set of water brushes made by Mr. Pen, and I think it's 8 in the set, but the smallest one in that set is that 2mm one. They don't it doesn't have the 1mm in it, so I didn't get those, but those are still super cheap. It's like a set of 8. I think it's either 8 or 6. It's like 2 of each size, and that set's only like $5. So I mean, anyway. So yeah, so those are my little finds from the last couple of weeks. And yeah, if there's anything else I come across, I'll put it in my pile for next time I do this. Yeah, so I have some coloring plans. I have some books that I'm planning on trying to find pages to work in. I have a tentative, my very first buddy color with Annika with Axik Fumbles, so that should be fun. We're going to do a page out of the Capybara book, and she said that she loves that book so much, and I love it so much out of this book. And she suggested maybe we could do a buddy color, and I was like, yeah, I would love to, because I have never done that. And she said I could pick the page, so I'm like, okay. So now I'm trying to find the page. I'm trying to pick a page. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. Okay, guys? If I forgot anything, I'll catch you up next time. But thank you for sharing with me. Thanks for being here with me, and for listening to me ramble on. Ramble on. It's a Led Zeppelin song. Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Stay out of trouble. You might as well subscribe while you're at it. Okay? And hit the thumbs up button. Okay. All right. Bye for now.